All right,
Yeah.
so let's Tio, we haven't talked a lot about the Mountain West in this conference. You are calling 2 Mountain West games. I
Yeah.
know from knowing you that you've probably watched the last 22 games that Boise State has played. You've watched every shot that every player on UNLV and New Mexico has taken. And probably because you're a sicko, you probably got distracted at some point and you're like, you know what? I need to go figure out what's going on with this San Diego State team. So let me go watch every shot that Matt Bradley has taken over the course of the last 7 years, dating all the way back to when he was playing Peach Jam in 2015. So let's talk about this Mountain West. How good are they? How good is the top? How many teams do you think are tournament worthy and B, good enough to win a game in the dance? There's been a lot of scuttlebutt that this is a league that is better than the ACC.
That's not true.
I think that you're probably going to push back on this, even though you might be wrong in that assessment.
Yeah, I might be wrong, but it's just not true. And here's the thing: the metrics, the bottom 6 teams or so of the ACC just crush you. Like that. That's why the metrics are the way they are. But if you look at a team like Boise State, who's very good, and they have a lot of pieces, they have guys who can score. They're old at the point guard spot. Dagan Hart can score from a lot of different spots. Who will be very much be in the running for Mountain West Player of the Year. Like it's a team with a lot of pieces, but if you look at the top of the Mountain West, if I had to stay right now, if they did it today, I think San Diego State, Boise State, Nevada get in. After that, it's close. But even if you look at those top 3 teams, I think Boise State, they're in that 4 or 5 range in the ACC, maybe 6. Just depending on that night-to-night challenge. I'll be honest, it's a bigger league and a better league than what I thought it was going to be. Truth be told, I was expecting something along the lines of the American. It's better than the American, outside of Houston, obviously. But the top 3, 4 teams are very, very good. It's just to say that they're in with the Power 6. They are a fourth of a step behind. I think the ACC this year is the 6th best conference, but they're probably a fourth of a step behind the ACC. But from 1 to about 7 in that league, tough out. Every one of them, tough out. But I think 3 teams make it in. San Diego State, because they defend, and they have, was it Matt Bradley who can score? Excuse me. Yeah, Matt Bradley could score. I think they could win a game or 2. Boise State has Dagan Hart, Max Rice, Leon's son. It can play. Mm-hmm. He scores in kind of awkward ways. He dribbles the ball really high, but he figures out ways to score. They have pieces. I'm not sure. I think they could win a game or 2 in the NCAA tournament, but I'll be honest, it was a fun game to call last night because they do try to score in a variety of ways. But Mountain West is good. It's not the 6th best conference in college basketball. Good. It's definitely in that 7-8 category.
It's pretty weird when you think about the fact that Colorado State and Wyoming were both predicted to be like somewhere in the top half, maybe the top 3 or 4 of this conference heading into the season. They're the 2 teams in last place right now, and we're still talking. Okay, Mountain West on KenPom is ranked above the ACC, and the Mountain West on KenPom not only has 5 teams in the top 50, they have 6 teams in the top 100. Shout out to Tim Miles, San Jose State. They are 16-11, 7-7 in the Mountain West, despite the fact that
they're good. It's a good league, and I got to spend some time with Leon Rice last night after the game. Like, they've got pieces. I just don't know that if they had to play in the Pac-12, like they're still probably in that 3, 4, 5 area.
They're in the conversation.
But to say that they're
San Diego State's in the Pac-12, it's USC, Arizona State, San Diego State. We're talking about is like the 3rd best team. Where do they fit? That's kind of the way.
3rd or 4th. I think Southern Cal would get them, but it's 3rd or 4th. Like it's just the metrics screw you up a little bit just simply because, of who they play and how their record's going to be against who they play. But it's still in that 7-8 range as far as conferences are concerned. But it's very deep. It's very good. There's a lot of really good players. There's dudes everywhere. And there's dudes in this conference for sure.
There's so many second chance guys, Fanta. That's one of those leagues that thrives on, all right, everyone that didn't top 100 kid that didn't make it in the Pac-12. Let's give them another chance here. Top 100 kid that didn't make it in the Big 12. Well, they're going to get their next chance here. There's a lot of guys like that.
Worthy of 3 teams. Worthy of 3 teams.
They deserve 3 teams, and they could get one. They could get one playing in Dayton if somehow they're able to get a fourth. But they're definitely worthy of 3 teams. And I think second chances. I mean, I think of Steve Alford and what he's been able to do with Nevada. I mean, they're a tournament team. They lost a 21-point lead to Utah State over the weekend, but Jared Lucas is big time. I mean, he's averaging over 17 points per game. He had 28 against New Mexico in a game last week. Guys, Lucas had 26.
Keenan Blackshear.
He had 26 against San Diego State. Jared Lucas should be getting talked about more, and you're right. Keenan Blackshear is another guy at 6'6", a really difficult matchup with significant length that can just make your life difficult. So I'll tell you what, San Diego State's capable of making the second weekend of the NCAA tournament. They are good enough. Their offense sometimes goes astray. What I took away from your Boise State game was exactly what you said. Even UNLV, who's had struggles, the way that both teams tried to generate offense, it was really fun to watch. It was entertaining to watch, the way that they were able to generate open shots. And sometimes that gives teams some issues in the NCAA tournament. So, look, Boise State, I mean, right now, if you look at where Boise appears, it's like right around the 10-11 line.
On fielding the 68, they are a 10 seed. San Diego State is a 6 seed. Nevada is a 9 seed, and New Mexico is one of the first 4 teams out.
Yeah. So Boise State, the way that they can score the basketball in spurts, they're going to be a very difficult 10 seed for a 7 to have to put up with, and it's an interesting prep. But I'll tell you, I've been impressed by Nevada. I think that they are a really interesting team because Lucas is an absolute bucket getter. And Steve Alford didn't forget how to coach. It just didn't work out at UCLA. He's had a nice way of just getting off the mat here and bouncing back. But San Diego State's going to have high stakes in the tournament, guys. Last year, San Diego State had Creighton beat. They had them beat. They choked. They've got to respond here and get at least a tournament win this year. That group's got too much talent for them to be one and done.
Yep, I agree. Hopefully we'll get a win, at least one out of the Mountain West. They went 0-4 last year.
You want to hear a funny stat? I couldn't believe this when I read it, but Boise State has the number 10 defense in the country. In the Mountain West Conference, they are dead last in blocks and steal percentage.
Crazy.
What does that tell you?
They don't.
They
scout
great positioning.
Everybody. Yep.
Yeah. Scout the absolute hell out of you. That's what that tells you.
Yep. That's a pretty wild stat. That's hard to do. Yep. That is not easy to do.
That's hard to do.
Don't be surprised if a Utah State or New Mexico, again, who's in the first 4 out and are feeling the 68. By the way, 5 Eastern time, Mondays and Fridays. I love the show. Don't be surprised if a Mountain West team, if we get a bid stealer.
Yeah. That's one of the leagues that's prime for it.
Could happen.
Mountain West.
Right?
Mountain West, absolutely prime for it because you have a couple teams that are going to be in the mix for at-large bids. I would say San Diego State and Nevada should feel pretty comfortable about where they are. Boise State's got a little bit of work left to do, but they should be able to find their way in. All right.